Hello and welcome to another paulietheboss video. Today I'm going to have a look at the new Batman game Arkham Asylum, which is available on Xbox, PC and PS3. Now before I go into a full review of the game itself, here's a few clips just to let you get a feel for it. Arkham Asylum is a third-person action-adventure that is best played as a stealth-based game. You take the role of Batman himself, and the game begins with you bringing the Joker into the custody of the staff at Arkham. However, the Joker soon manages to spring free, and it emerges that he has masterminded a scheme to put Gotham City in danger. At the heart of the game, just like the comic books, what it's really about is trying to get a hold of the Joker and foil his plans. Now, if you check out the challenge fight here, you'll see some of the different elements of the simple to pick up but hard to master combo mechanics. The combo element of the game uses a touted free-flowing combo system, which has appeared in a few other games under different guises. Basically, you have three main buttons in hand-to-hand combat. You've got your strike, your counter and your stun, as well as a couple of takedown moves which you can perform on downed enemies. Essentially, the free flow system means that if you're smart with your button presses, and more particularly your timings, you can string massive combos together. Massive combos are a good thing because as you advance through the game, you'll have the opportunity to unlock new upgrades to your gadgets and armour, and the more points you get through combat, the quicker you'll be able to upgrade everything. As you're probably aware though, although Batman is tough, and is officially the best superhero of all time, as endorsed by paulietheboss.com, he's not invincible by any means. What Batman really depends on is stealth and gadgets. Stealth-wise, you can change your vision mode within the kill to detective mode, which highlights certain areas of interest as well as letting you see the location of the enemies and whether or not they're armed. When you're skulking around in the shadows and vents, you begin to realise that this is where Arkham Asylum really shines. You can use your grappling hook to gain access to higher ground, drop into vents in the floor and walls, or use corners for cover. As you begin to take out enemies one by one, you can keep an eye on their heart rate. The AI in the game isn't amazing, but it's well balanced enough. As enemies start to get nervous, you'll check their back more often, eventually becoming terrified and firing off random shots. One thing that bugged me slightly is that in previews for the game, the developers seemed to imply that multiple vision modes would always be available to Batman. This isn't actually the case when you play through. Although there are areas of the game where you use chemical, DNA, fingerprint tracking modes amongst others, these are restricted to particular acts within the game, and there's no way to switch between them at any other points. Gadget-wise, you have a few things to choose from too. There's explosive gel, which can knock down weak walls and incapacitate Joker's henchmen. There's the line-throwing apparatus that appears in Batman 89 when he rescues Vicky Vale from the museum. Of course, there's the trusty old Batarang. There's also a sonic Batarang that attracts the attention of the nearest enemy, as well as a couple of other bits and bobs. There is a decent comic book plot to the game. It takes a couple of turns as you progress, and in order to keep the fans happy, there are a lot of familiar faces popping up, from Commissioner Gordon and his daughter Barbara to many of the villains that we know so well. Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, Bane and Scarecrow are among those making appearances. The parts of the game with Scarecrow are particularly surreal and reminded me of Max Payne in a way. There are also a lot of nods to other villains who don't make an appearance, such as Catwoman, the Penguin, Mr. Freeze amongst others. There's also the Riddler, who has set Batman a number of riddles to solve and trophies to collect throughout the game, and will contact you from time to time via your comm system, basically to tell you how crap you are. Completing the Riddler's challenges opens up challenge modes, of which there are two types: a straight up combat version where you fight waves of enemies, and a timed invisible predator mode which plays a bit more like the Tenchu games. Arkham itself is pretty large and sprawling, but to help you find your way around there's a nice map system in the game. Instead of wandering around aimlessly, Oracle will mark waypoints on your map which can be accessed at any time. As well as coming across the enemies in-game, there's also a nice feature where you gain access to files on the Batman characters, which include patient interviews with some of the more featured characters from the Rogues Gallery. I thought that was a nice touch, along with the character trophies that you also come across later on in the game. As far as my verdict on Arkham Asylum, I have to admit that in the beginning I really wasn't feeling this game that much at all, which worried me because I'm a big Batman fan. I almost wrote it off after playing the demo itself on Xbox Live, and this is after looking forward to playing the game for months and months. It does have some issues. The camera's a bit glitchy at times, and I'm still not too keen on neither having a straightforward jump button or a fully integrated free running system, something along the lines of maybe Assassin's Creed, or if they wanted to make it a bit more in depth, something a bit more like Mirror's Edge. However, I do have to say that I did a complete 180 on this game, and I really did fall in love with it after a few hours of playing. Although it's not as open and sandboxy as perhaps Spidey of Shadows or Prototype, there's something just hugely addictive about lurking in the shadows, putting the fear of God into your enemies and watching their reactions. I didn't buy it for the plot, but there is one there, and it does play off as very comic book. There's a good number of enemies, some interesting boss fights, a decent combat system, lots of fun stealth moments, some great gadgets, a nice soundtrack, and some really nice gritty graphics as well. As far as the audio, the voice work on the game was also done by a few of the stars of the original animated series, which adds to the overall feel, and that includes the Joker, who's voiced by Mark Hamill. At the end of the day, I would urge any PS3, PC or Xbox owning Batman fan to go out and grab a copy of this. At least rent it and play it for a few hours, and see if you don't walk away from it at some point thinking about how you could have handled the last room in a more stealthy, more Batman-like manner. Well, that's all for this video review. Please do rate, comment and subscribe, and remember to pop over to paulietheboss.com as well if you want to read some of the other articles. There will be more videos coming soon, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you do get a shot of Batman Arkham Asylum.
Come in! Sit down! Take off your mask! So, Bats, I was thinking, you really could use a friend in here. Someone to talk to, share secrets with. Shall we start with the big one? Who is that behind the mask? Why do you feel the need to go out into the world and fight people like me? Do you really think you can win? We'll see.